Hite III. Welcome to Speak Up St. Louis.
Great day, sir. Great day.
Hey,
appreciate you having me.
Yeah, just for the folks that are listening, this is another full circle moment right here. To be able to have Coach Hite here on Speak Up St. Louis is really special for me because Coach Hite, saw me back when I was in high school from 2010 to 2014, ripping and running around. Before we had the vision for certain things, and now it's to be able to have him in the space with all the work that he's doing. It's incredible, yeah, because, he used to see me when I was running around, avoiding trying to be on the football team, trying to do everything else.
Come on, play for us. No basketball. Come on, football.
Maybe if I had the build that I have now, I would have jumped out.
Right. There you go.
I was 190 pounds, no shoulders, no biceps. But no, it's really great to have you on, Coach Hite. And I just want to, get started. And if you want to tell the listeners, some about yourself, who you are, and what you do.
Absolutely, Quinton. First of all, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention the fact that I have so much respect for you. I appreciate you bringing me in, you and Trey giving me an opportunity to come in on the podcast. It just means a lot. And in this illustrious art museum as well that we're in makes things even more better.
The Contemporary Art Museum, St. Louis. Shout out to Michelle back there smiling.
Michelle got us in here and got me in awe. I'm looking at art. I'm supposed to be talking, and I'm looking, the
oohs and ahs.
I just got to thank you for that, and I want to make sure you understand that I saw things in you that you didn't see at that time because I was a little bit more seasoned, as you can see by these grays. So you'll get them one day, don't worry.
I got a
but
couple in the
always
we
can
ain't gonna
recognize.
talk about that.
Right. Always can recognize a leader, and I saw that in you as a young man. So regardless, I was recruiting you for football, but I was never trying to get you just to play a sport. Right. You were already playing basketball. I was recruiting you for the game of life. Ooh. It was about you being a quarterback, a linebacker, somebody that could be productive in life, and I saw you doing that, so I got to be around that type of anointing. When you see somebody that young moving like you were moving and not with the crowds and handling your business, then I had to be a part of that. So just so you know, it wasn't about football, it was about life.
Oh yeah, I know what you about.
There we go, live on the field of life. You got to get it.
For sure. But if you want to just tell the folks, about who you are, wherever you want to take the story about who Coach Hite is.
Wow, just a young man who started out early in life mentoring. Was thrust into that position. My dad was a military command sergeant major, and in that group that he was in was a special ops unit, and they traveled all over the world on special secret missions. So that meant every 2 to 3 years for safety, we moved. So you're living in Georgia one year, we're living in Philadelphia the next year, Hawaii, Texas, Germany. You're just all over the place moving. But through that process, we thought that was a punishment, but that was galvanizing us to be resilient, number one, because they always would just have to leave when the beeper goes off. And then those families rallied behind each other in secret to be able to take care of each other until they got back. So as a young kid, I'm talking about like 5th and 3rd grade, I was already mentoring other kids because we had to hang with each other, keep everybody's spirits up. So I always was raised with a don't quit mentality. So going through school, I realized that I had a learning disability. I tried to deny it. The letters were jumbled up and the stuff that I read just didn't seem, normal when I was in class. But I just knew we were raised that you have to do whatever you got to do. With grandma riding the bus through all those years, raising 9 kids by herself. My dad always instilled and my mom instilled us, you just don't quit. I don't care how bad things are, you just don't quit. So with fast forward to that learning disability caused me to talk to people more because I tried to deflect, that I was struggling on the academic side. Right. Sitting in class, Hite, are you talking? Hite, are you talking? Well, I'm talking. Everybody in the classroom talking, why are you singling me out? So I would make excuses. The teacher is prejudiced, it's racism. She prejudiced to me because I'm talking. But in actuality, I was talking, but my voice was carrying because that was my gift and I didn't realize it. See, I thought my gift was on the academic side because I just wanted to play pro football. That's all I wanted to do. But they said in order to do that, you got to do your academics. So now I'm kind of caught. I'm struggling. So I became class president in 2 different high schools. I mean, even when I moved, I became class president in the next school. And this is not to brag or impress you. It's just to press upon you the fact that I've never used those as excuses, because excuses are monuments of nothingness. Those who use those tools of incompetency are masters of nothing. Who wants to be a master of nothing? So I just pulled up my bootstraps and said, guess what? If my dad can do those missions and come back and act like nothing ever happened, and all this I'm telling you now, we just found this stuff out when we got into our mid-20s and 30s. We never heard about that when we were younger because he was still on that same impression. You just do what you got to do and you're not going to quit. That's the thing. Because if you don't quit, like Nike, you're going to just do it.
Right.
So I felt that that was something I had to let you know that, with all the degrees, I got more degrees than a thermometer now. I just finished up my PhD in Christian counseling.
Congratulations.
I appreciate it. I mean, I went through all the deals, the student loan debt, all that stuff as well. And I got a shout out to Barack Obama, former President Barack Obama, for the student loan forgiveness that was for educators, firemen, police that have that program that was white clean. Man, if I don't give you that testimony and tell you after my 10 years that was white clean, I'm not talking about a couple of zeros. I'm talking about some 6-figure action. I'm just going to leave it at that. Woo, thank you, Lord. I'm sorry, I'm back now.
Yeah, no.
For that to disappear.
Right.
And but I did what I was supposed to do. I worked with young people, and that's just what I said I've started with. Started with mentoring, still doing that today. And at the end of the day, I just want to get to the gates and hear, well done, my faithful servant, because I've always been a servant of people, and so have my parents and my dad and my mom, my grandmother, and I'm teaching my children to do the same thing. So with that, now I'm the director of safety and security for a school district, Jennings School District in the outside of the St. Louis City area. And I do inspirational speaking, life coaching, and just anything I can do to inspire people. They call me the Energizer Bunny sometimes, but he looks a little different than I do. So he got more hair than I do. But I just want to plug in and be able to give people that energy and that light, so we just keep pushing and they don't quit.
And as you see, this is why I brought Coach Hite onto the podcast, because there's so much that we're going to get into today. I want to take it a step back, because when you were talking about, being a part of a military family, and being able to go to so many different places and spaces that some folks in St. Louis, have not had the opportunity to do so. Mm-hmm. So talk to me about that, because you talked about it a little bit before we started recording with the episode about this building of this world perspective. What did that really do for you when you're thinking back, looking over your career and life and the work that you've done? What role did that play for you when you're thinking about the work that you're doing now?
It was just like the whole part about the learning disability. I thought that was a knock against me in life at one point. But then all of a sudden started realizing that voice I had, I don't need a microphone to make my voice carry, right?
Right.
So at the same time, that what I thought was negative was turned into being a positive. Living in all those foreign countries, being around all those different people that didn't look like you got a chance to see the world in a whole lot bigger perspective than most. It wasn't about I've been in this one town and this is all I know. So we didn't have time to be prejudiced. All of our dads wore green when they went to work, but all of us looked different at the houses when we hung out with each other. So we didn't have time for that. So, it's a big thing for me to have that worldview, and I've trickled that down to my kids as well. But it was a thing that we just really, really learned. And at the time, it was like you said, when you were in the hallways, you didn't think about some of the stuff that you knew now. If I'd have been lifting them weights, I'd have been like this size you are now when you was in high school. I mean, it just doesn't resonate with you as much.
Right.
But I thank God for those opportunities, those gifts. I tell my kids every day when I drop them off, God's giving you tremendous gifts, and that's a lot of them. So use them, because you can lose them too. And you should share those gifts with other people. I mean, that's what it's all about. What are you going to leave on this earth? Help other people out. So, not being morbid or anything, but we saw soldiers that didn't come back. I hung out.
That's a reality.
It's a reality. I hung out with friends who we played together, and we kept each other up for weeks, working, playing with each other, and getting to know each other. And then all of a sudden, Dad didn't come back. So that's true mentoring. It's not just saying, "Hi, my name. I'm here. I'm here to tell you about my life story," and that's it. It's, hey, when it's tough Am I still gonna love you the same way? Am I gonna look at you? And also, because in that situation, they don't need to see me crying. They need to see somebody strong so they can be like that and emulate that. And that's what you get from those type situations. And I'm just thankful to God. And I'm being honest. And I told my dad, and he said, "You're right." I complained about it. I mean, I was class president at a school that was like 30 miles away from where Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince DJ'd high school parties. As a freshman, I'm starting on varsity on the football team. I'm on the homecoming court. I'm not trying to move. And he walks in and said, "We're moving to Germany." Ninth grade year, at the end of the ninth grade year, you know?
I think anybody would have been a little bit upset. Just, and that might be an understatement.
I mean, come on now. That was when summertime was out. You know what I mean? It's like, why am I being punished? God, what are you doing to me? And go to the next school in Germany. And in my mind, I hadn't been anywhere like that, right?
Right.
So I'm thinking it's Heil Hitler. That's what I'm thinking I'm about to experience when I get over there. And I get over there, it's a melting pot of people. We going to France, Amsterdam, Spain, Italy on the weekends.
Right, because of how close everything is.
Everything's close. You can
Hop
get on
a train.
Hop on a train, double-decker bus. Come on now, you know. See, now everybody's all, yeah, I've been on Instagram and I've seen that. We were living that when nobody knew like that except people that were over there, right?
Right.
So it gave a worldview on everything, and it taught me to be accepting of people. I saw people that didn't have money that were poor. We didn't know that we didn't have a lot of money. We didn't complain about it. It was like, this is what we got, but let's use what we got to have a great life. And that was, I'm thankful to them for that.
Yeah.
Because it could have been, I don't get choked up on that part, I do, but it could have been the opposite, because I have relatives here, and there's no disrespect to them, but I had some people that took different choices. So I would come here in the summers and visit in St. Louis, and I got love for St. Louis because after I stopped playing college football, I came here. Then I've been in that school district ever since. I came to speak to that class in my grandmother's, speak to that classroom, and that's how I wound up being in St. Louis for 25 years in that school district. They hired me on after I did the speaking engagement. You know why? I was still wilding out, kind of wild at that time, and then I just got right with God. I got saved, and some dramatic, traumatic as well stuff happened with some friends and fraternity brothers, and that just woke me up to realize that life ain't promised for tomorrow, so we gotta live today.
Yeah, thank you for that, because I think what's really impactful about all the things you said there is just this space of reflection that you're in, to be able to know that, all these things that have happened in your life have been for the betterment and for the good of you, for being able to do the work that you're doing today. And so I say that to say, not just to you, but also to the folks that's listening, being able to take, whether it's right now during this podcast episode, later or ever, just take a step back to really be able to reflect on all the things that have happened and all the things that you could be thankful for. Because like you said, it didn't have to end up like this. And that's, we didn't have to be here. Right, no doubt. And so that's just, I think that's really powerful, because it's like, when we think about life, sometimes we're moving and grooving, we're making decisions, but sometimes we don't look back and say, man, if those two things didn't come together,
I wouldn't be where I am right now,
be here
thinking like I think.
Right. We'd be in a different place. And so I appreciate you sharing that, not only the personal part of your life, but also the broader context of how we need to be putting the mindset that we need to be having when we're making and taking those steps towards progress or whatever, life has for us as well, too. And the other part I want to talk a little bit about is, the learning disability as well, too, because I think that's new in regards to the context of what we've talked about here on the podcast. I think it's less maybe if you can share some of the story as well too if you would like, but I think one of the things that I'm really interested in is for the folks that are listening right now that might be dealing with that or might have loved ones, neighbors, people that they know that might be dealing with a learning disability. What were some of the key steps that you took to be able to find a way to overcome that? Were there different skill sets that you had to build out? What were some of the things where you're like, when you think about it, whether it's now or back then, how did you say, all right, here are the things that I'm going to do to make sure that, this quote unquote disability is not going to hinder my progress moving forward?
Wow. Hadn't been asked that in that manner. And I appreciate that.
That's what I do.
Wow. That is what I want to talk about right there. I use the resources available. I had teachers. I did this conference in Memphis this time for about 500 teachers, and I never told them that I had my daughter that was in the crowd videoing, and they kept seeing her. But when I got done, they thought I was talking about me the whole time, and I switched from talking about me, and I was talking about, I'm the guy with the grades. Now I'm talking about her, somebody that's 11 years old, and they didn't get it until they saw it. You see people with a learning disability, but we got on masks. We got on the mask. We're acting like, we're acting out. Some people act out when they have those issues. Some people deflect. They come up with other ways. It depends on what space you're in. But I had a teacher who one time recognized it, and she was like, "Next semester you're going to be in my writing class." Writing class? What am I in a writing class? Heard you talking about being in the NFL and all that stuff, and I saw that your words are jumbled up and everything. When I got to her class, she set it up to where I literally wrote for an hour every day in that class.
She has another challenge.
That's it. It's like, if you want this, then you're going to do this.
Right.
Well, when I write, I think it in my head and I write it out, but that's not what goes down on paper, what I'm thinking, and it's all jumbled up. She said, but you're going to keep practicing at it. You have no problem practicing on that football field, sun, freezing cold, no matter what. You go for that. So if you want that, you got to go for this. And for the young people listening, no matter what it is, if I could speak to them and some of the more seasoned people as well, it's that one thing that stops you from going to that next level. It's the one thing that's that one fear. It's that false evidence appearing real. It's that one thing that you got in your head because somebody laughed at you when you start reading out loud. Come on, Leon Hite, little Leon. Somebody laughed the first time, or they saw you had an F in the class and everybody else just got an A no matter what. It's that one time that all of a sudden, if I could just sit in there and write for an hour, now I learn how to.
You building traction.
Exactly.
You building.
But she saw that. And guess what? Didn't look like me. Wasn't from my area, couldn't tell you probably where St. Louis was, country town from Texas, moved out there to take a job, working at the military base, working with kids. But she saw me.
But she saw something in you.
And it was another teacher that was the PE teacher. He made us do a math problem before we could take off to the next base. We doing multiplication facts before we go to the next base in kickball. It's like, that made me want to be a teacher. Because he was working with me because he knew I was struggling with that, right?
Right.
So that made it duplicate. So I'm just encouraging people out there that everybody has skills. Everybody has some gifts. Everybody is unique. Billions of sperm all came together and made you. You are unique from everybody else. So why wouldn't you share what you have? Because now I could go, man, that's that thing I'm struggling with. If he did it or she did it, I could do it too. Why can't I do it? And that's the same thing I was saying about when we were talking about that billionaire. The kids need to see him so they can want to be him.
Right.
We get them seeing enough people doing negative stuff.
Right.
They need to look up. If I can see it, I can be it.
Right.
And that's where I was, and I didn't realize that I'm playing with these little kids, and I'm a little kid. I'm like, I gotta work with these other little kids. I just want to do my thing. Right. But no, they were like, no, you're going to mentor these younger kids. And that duplicated, I quickly realized that was helping me to grow too as well. Because see, what I want other people out there to hear as well is that if you a mentor, you can't do another life and then try to mentor. It's too much technology out here. It's too much going on. I can't tell you to do a certain thing and I'm doing something different.
But it's not authentic either.
It ain't authentic. And young people are like sharks. They can smell blood miles away, a drop of blood in the water. They know a fake. They know you're not concerned with them. Here's my art project. Oh, yeah, okay. Even if they go, ooh, that's great, they know if that's great was not authentic. Because that's just how they are. So in that space of working with young people, it made me change my lifestyle. It made me raise the bar. And as educators, the ones that are out there that are frustrated, stop just showing up for work. The pandemic is over. We got to go hard now. 2 years of scrolling. Come on, 2 years of no rules. The kids are behind. We got to get caught up. And I'm saying it. And I told a few of them, man, stop talking to me about it. Quit saying the pandemic, blah, 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 all that. The kids are here now, so now what you gonna do?
Right.
All I remember, and I know I wasted 2 years. I mean, I got in and I worked hard and finished up my doctorate stuff. I did that. But the whole time I was in fear so much that I didn't be Coach Hite. People were asking me, where the motivational stuff? Come on, man. Where the inspiration? And again, I realized my quote was me as well, because I'm still growing like anybody else. Motivation is only for the moment.
Right.
I'm not a motivational speaker. I want to be an inspirational, and now I am an inspirational speaker. Because an inspirational speaker puts it in your spirit. That's the inspiration that lasts for a lifetime, because it's in your spirit. It's got to be more than that. And a young lady talked to me, and then her boss hired me to work with a bank, and I came in, and they were all grilling me. What are you gonna do? These people don't wanna, get rah-rah and all that type stuff. They do, but because you're not allowing them to, that's why they're doing that.
You never know when somebody's cup is not full.
No doubt.
And you never know, something that you may say to somebody else might have a great impact, not just maybe for a day or a week, but potentially for the rest of their life.
I remember a couple guys in that same presentation standing up like it was church, like I was doing altar call. And these are corporate guys, suits and ties. It's supposed to be a little hour of power. I'm gonna do a little stuff. 1 minute they back here frowning, looking all, man, I'm trying to hear what he's talking about. Next minute they stand up, it's on their seat, and then they stand up now and then they're crying and raising hands. Because I was calling out some of the things that go on, but they didn't know that was coming. I had the laughs, I had the jokes, but I put it on me. Because I said, now, who's in here, forget the learning disability, who's in here having a problem just because somebody come in looking a certain way? Now I already figured out who he is or what high school he went to. What does that, now I got him summed up now, right? I mean, I went to one high school, but then I was in Germany. So now what? From Philly with all of the people talking Italian and all that stuff, and Fresh Prince DJing and all that stuff, Jazzy Jeff, great parties I might add, all that stuff to go to Germany. But then if you heard what high school, people tell me it's mostly a St. Louis thing.
It is a St. Louis thing.
I'm starting to see that.
Yeah.
But it's like, that's going to be able to, now you got me summed up.
Right.
That's not my resume, that's my life.
It's one of those invisible barriers,
We got to get beyond those.
Right.
We infighting about nonsense. We are so much more alike, and I think that's what scares some negative people.
Right.
I think they are worried that we are similar. We do have similarities. They're like, whoa, wait a minute. How do they? No, we on this earth for a reason.
But that's that worldview that you have as well, too, to understand and see all the different perspectives, demographics, financial backgrounds. You've seen so much. And then for some folks in St. Louis, you know how it goes sometimes.
It does.
Some folks live in a fishbowl.
Where you live at, or where you at, what school your kids at.
But that's all, and that's all they've ever known.
All they ever known. And I got so frustrated with it in that same presentation. It was out in St. Charles. There's probably about 200 people out there. And the demographic definitely wasn't me. It was different than me. And I'm not bragging on it. It was like they were eating out of my hand at the end, because I came back to real life and I got the color out of it. That's a shame I got to go that far to take the color out. You know how far I went? Out of space. I said, so let me get this straight. You're working with employees and people that can help move the needle with your business, but you're not at all curious about what are their likes, dislikes, how do I offend you when I say a certain thing. You got people that are different sexualities and stuff. You're not even concerned, right? But you want them to perform on the job for you. You want them to come in when they're sick. You want them to get the best sales. You want to do whatever it is in that room, because it was bankers, it was people from the convention center, all different groups. I said, okay, so stop worrying about all the color and everything. I got this from that Matthew McConaughey movie. I said, close your eyes. I said, imagine if they were aliens. I had to go out of space with it, because we polarize so much in this country and in this world that we're worried about where you live at, what you look like, all that stuff. We all humans, so let me take that out the equation.
Right. And I think that's the big part that is missed, is that, a lot of what we're talking about, or the degrees of separation, is just relationships. It's the relationship, and not even just the relationship, because I think people can throw that out there sometimes, and it's just it's just a word. But it's also like, how much do I care about the person that sits next to me?
Come on with it. You almost
and
there.
I think that is the part that we miss a lot within not just the work that we do, because it's bigger than the work. Because it's like you said, it has to be a level of authentic as well too.
No doubt.
Because if you don't have that level of care outside of work, what makes you think that you're going to bring it into the workplace? And I think those are two very different things. I wanted, before we get too far away from it, I want to go back real quick and say shout out to all the teachers out there, the teachers, the educators out there, because one of the things that you said I thought was really important, because a lot of what we're talking about, what we've kind of went over, is not only just teachers, but we've talked about mentorship as well too. And I think that, sometimes I think we think of mentors as individuals that help define, our strengths,
Right.
but not refining our weaknesses.
Yes.
Like, it's like, I think those are two very different things. Like, somebody that can further define what I'm good at, the heights of what I'm at. But there's still a level of importance for somebody to say, I see you and I see what you're struggling with, and we are going to bring that up in a way to not only challenge you, but make you a better holistic person as well too. And so I think that's, because when I think back and I'm like, and we probably all have had these moments, I'm thinking back to all those teachers just across the board that are just, that were positioned at the right place at the right time to be able to pick me up from one place. All right, we got you here. I'm going to take you there.
Exactly.
Like one that I think about from Trinity Catholic High School, Mr. Schnell, Gene Schnell. That was my man right
Gene
there.
Schnell.
Like architecture teacher, track and field. But one thing that always came across is that he was genuine and he cared about the individual.
No doubt.
You don't get that everywhere. Then you think about college and and I think about my professor, and she already knows this, Noriko Uwasa, who was positioned there to say, hey, you don't know nothing about graphic design, but I'm going to show you where you can get your foot in.
That's it.
And you're going to take it from there. And that, so it's just all those moments to be able to say that, wow, folks were positioned. I was blessed enough to have folks positioned in my life to help me get to the next place. And sometimes we miss that. Sometimes we miss it just by us trying to get to a destination rather than really realizing what's happening in the present moment as well too. So I just wanted to capture that, because I think that's so important that, because for some folks, they wouldn't even tripped off their PE teacher to trying to do multiplication. They'd have been like, whatever, I'm gonna keep up. But it's like, but that's the difference sometimes, is that, that ooh, we about to get into it now. But that's a part of it though, is that message wasn't meant for them.
Right.
It was meant for you.
It was meant for me.
Right.
The kid that was out there ready to give up. I saw his job, and I said, that's what I want to do.
Every message ain't meant for everybody.
And guess what? He didn't look like me. He wasn't where I was from. He wasn't from where I was from. And guess what? He probably went into the things that I was into.
Right.
He wasn't listening to Kid and Play and Run DMC back then.
And but he probably didn't even know he was impacting your life in the way
and
that you
came
were.
full circle and wound up being a teacher in the same school district that I started in Jennings 30, I'm dating myself now, 20-something years ago. Shout out to Bill Mittens-Why. Shout out to him. All the way from Germany, teaching me PE and making me work on multiplication facts and turn around and then he's a teacher over there.
Come on.
I mean,
So
you can't make this stuff up.
So you're telling me a teacher in Germany
In Mannheim American High School, class of 1990.
found his way to St. Louis.
St. Louis, Missouri.
To Jennings School District.
While I'm in college, he's in St. Louis teaching in Jennings School District. When I graduate and come to the school to speak, he moves and then he posts and everything, because all that social media came out later. He says, I started in Jennings School District. And they were like, yeah, we know Bill Mittens-Why.
What?
Small world. And I said, hey, by the way, did I leave out the fact that I was class president that senior year? And guess what he did? He spoke at the graduation. They had generals, congressmen, German officials. We're all supposed to speak. No, you're not. We want the PE teacher to speak, because he touched us. He got me into education.
So if that don't show folks right there that St. Louis brings the best and the brightest.
What?
Like,
the best and the brightest.
The best and the brightest.
Sure did.
And that's how we got to start talking about our city. It's not just all the media, the negative media attention that St. Louis can get at times, but it's also knowing that we bring the best and the brightest.
Exactly.
And sometimes you don't even know that they're in your presence.
Please, don't even know. Please, you get me going on that. We talk about that stuff. It's like, hey, you don't know who you talking to or who's going to be that next kid that gets it. And like light bulb came on with me. Man, boy, you got me getting excited in here.
Right.
I got to tell you this. When I asked those people if it was an alien, you know they got it then. Because they couldn't bring any stereotypes of what you learned when you were younger, how you didn't like this group, or you're fearful of this group. They couldn't do anything. Because I said if an alien, and I even had to say it, no, not an illegal alien, because I know some of them still hear that word alien.
Right.
I said if one just beamed down and show up from a spaceship, everybody's going to want to know, what do they like? What do they dislike? You're going to want to know about them.
It's intentionality.
Exactly. You're going to want to know, are they safe? Are they not? What do you like? How do we work with you? Are you going to be here working with me? And then that's how you should treat regular people that are here on this earth right now. What are we waiting on? What are we waiting on? Because time, look, I'm going to say this and I'll probably say it again later. The most important commodity in this world is time. It's time to love. It's time to live. When you're born, I got a video on YouTube about that.
Say that one more time.
Come on.
Say that time part one more time.
Tell your audio guy, I apologize. I'm sorry, Trey. I'm sorry. But the most important commodity in this world is not money. It's time.
And you said two things. You said it's time for love.
Time to love and time to live. See, it was on the tip of your tongue, and you kind of hesitated. But you know, one of my mentors as well, Dr. R. McCoy, said, love. You gotta love the folks in the stuff that you're doing. We beyond that just showing up. We beyond just doing what you got to do to get the budget done and blah, blah, blah. It's got to be a love. We got people staying at home just because they just want to stay. They're going to stay at home. I'll be broke. I'm not going back to work. So some people show up and say, well, I showed up. That ain't no accomplishment. How about the love of what you're doing? So guess what? When you find that love, you find that why. So that time is what we got. That time is that dash in the middle on that tombstone. That's what that time is. That time, everybody, oh, my birthday. I mean, mine's coming up to 15. Yeah, rah, rah, rah. No. Look, the most important numbers on that tombstone is the day you were born and then the day you die. But it's really not.
It's the dash in the middle.
It's the dash in the middle. It's all of that time you spent doing whatever you do. Now, that dash for some folks, it's a negative sign. Negative about this. Well, oh, here we go again. Oh, I showed up for this. Oh, here we are. You ain't got to be here because you could be clocked out like that. So I always said, no matter what, I'm going to keep pushing. I'm going to live life to the fullest. It's another L. I'll take some L's. I'll take some love. I'll take some living. I'll take some leadership and keep moving with life. And that dash in the middle, man, I'm on that so much because I want people to understand that part. Because everybody, no matter how you think they different or all this type of stuff as well, and I don't like this person, that person, all of us gonna die one day and leave here. All of us gonna do that, right? So we got that in common, right?
Right.
So why don't we live life to the fullest?
That's real.
Why don't we live life to the fullest? Why don't we help some other people with their dash in the middle? When I met you or when I mentored you, you were able to, because that dash can get elongated and be a longer life if we just get with the right things. I'm eating healthier. I was apologizing when I came in. I've been eating the salmon. Man, you know I wanted to stop at that fast food place over here. But I didn't. No, salmon and some salad with hardly no dressing. Why? Got to get the cholesterol down. See, these are things you don't know about yet, Quinton, because you're still a young buck, okay? All right?
Hey, I get down with the salmon and the salad
okay.
already.
All right. Okay, come on. So you do it now. Don't do like us. All them double burgers and all that other stuff, right? So I quit eating meat.
Every now and then I do give me a double burger, though. Those be real good.
But that's okay. But every now and then it's fine. It can't be every day.
Everything in moderation.
Because we want that dash to be a little longer, right?
Right.
We want to be here as long as we can. So I got to listen to the docs and do what I got to do. Come down on the cholesterol. We got to do this. Back to the working out. I ain't never stopped working out until I had these kids. Come on, I'm gonna get. Come on, I got it.
Oh, he giving life advice out here.
You want me to be live on the field of life? I gotta tell you, the kids changed the game.
Right.
So don't have none until you're ready.
Right.
You got any?
No.
Okay. No. When you're ready.
27.
Come on.
We're not there yet. We're not there yet.
I didn't have mine until after 27, but guess what? When you're ready, you still ain't ready. But you gonna get ready.
Right. So everybody know when I have kids, I'm calling Coach Hite. I'm gonna be like, hey, I ain't ready. But on the conversation of kids though, I'm curious. because I want to wrap up some of the thoughts, especially around the youth, because I think a lot of times folks will see our youth and they'll be like, oh, they doing this and they doing that, as if they weren't youth themselves, trying to figure out life and things like that. And now, obviously, our work, when we're thinking about these, especially these recent generations, social media is involved. So there's a lot of other things that are in play. But I want to shift the question to, rather than, why are the youth doing that? Like, why can't they, because some people be like, why they can't act right? And more so in the sense of, if you had to define it by maybe one or two things, what do you think the youth need from us when we're thinking collectively as folks? Because I know a lot of what we talked about is mentorship, but are there other things when you're seeing the youth, especially at the Jennings School District, what do the youth need from us? And when I say us, I mean as individuals,
correct,
as organizations, as potential mentors as well too. What are some of those things? Are you like, all right, if somebody's trying to get involved or invested or want to see something better for our youth, what are some of those things what are some of those key things that you're like, yeah?
Some of the key things we see that are so powerful is the fact that we'll have companies come by and for the kids to see them, to see you. They see somebody, whether it looks like them or not, they see somebody that, again, loves them enough to take that time, which is so important and so expensive, to actually teach them, to show them, this is my job, this is what I do. I don't get on the whole deal about, oh, it's the youth and da-da-da. The youth are kind of doing some of the stuff that they've seen. They're emulating and imitating things that they've seen too as well. They just taking it to another level, that's all, because they got so much access to see more and more of it. So the adults are a lot at fault in this as well. Oh, I know people don't want to hear that. No. If they don't have a father and I'm a young man, how am I learning how to be a man? Ain't no disrespect to the moms, because moms, I got some moms I know raised these boys right way.
We got some superhero moms out here.
Superhero moms. We'll get with them in a minute.
I know a few of them.
And mine, when my dad wasn't there, she was definitely that person. Because if he didn't show back up from one of those missions, guess what? It was going to be just her and my brother, right? But we still got to have a male. If he's just that mentor that's spending a little bit of time, that boy has to be able to look and see, I'm going to be like that one day.
And that's the overarching part that you've been talking about a lot. It's not the because obviously there's resources and other things. But what you just talked about even just earlier, it's time.
It's just that time.
It's time.
And quit. This is another thing. I don't like when corporations, they come and they look at the kids and they don't want to talk to me. I don't look like them. Quit saying that. They just want. You might be we had chess. I can't even say their names, grand chess masters in our school district last week, walking around working with kids. The grand masters of chess. Right. These are the ones playing overseas for hours. That fast game version. The clock, stuff I can't even do, right? They in there playing with our kids, and our kids in there going with them. They not going easy. They are going with them. Why? Because they know nothing about chess.
But they seeing it.
But this person don't look like, I keep saying it again, don't look like them, ain't from where they from. They are in there showing them their skills. Everybody has something to offer. That's what I'm saying, Quinton. So everybody got to find a mentor. That's how we can change a lot of these issues.
So to something that you just said right there, about the corporation part, I think, especially with the work that I do around food insecurity at Operation Food Search. And a lot of it, because when we're talking about certain things, whether it being social service, a lot of it is community engagement. And a lot of folks, have asked me, how do we implement programming, or how do we build inroads? I was like, you show up. You show up. And it's like, but it's not showing up when you got a grant.
Yes.
It's not showing up when you got money and resources.
Yes.
One of the things I said is like, have you gone to the church barbecue? Have you shown up to the town hall meeting? Have you gone and shopped with some of the businesses that are in the neighborhood?
Wow.
Like, have you done all the other things to build rapport and relationship with folks before you even get to the grant? Before you even get to an opportunity to be able to be plugged in. And so it's the same way with the youth. Like, if the youth ain't never seen you, if you ain't never shown up for any of the events, if you ain't never supported them in any type of way, why would but that's even for adults. Why would I ever care? Or why would I even think of like, oh, they just here for a moment. So you easy to disrespect, because you hold no weight. Right. You hold no value. You step in and you're not you're not bringing presence. And I don't mean that just from a visual perspective.
Right.
I'm talking about like you don't have that weight with you to say like, hey, I have something that I can share with you. I have something that I can help you build. But yeah, so it's just like, so why would I can imagine that right now. I mean, I was a respectful young kid, but it's like, I mean, if you just showing up, it's just like, all right, all right, the next corporate group gonna come in about 3 months and do the same thing
and leave on out.
And leave on out.
We've had some phenomenal ones that have come in that have built relationships and still mentor Regions Bank and Express Scripts and Worldwide Technology.
And that's amazing too.
They still
and
mentor
shout out to
this
them for
day.
doing that.
Absolutely, but that's what it takes though. It says, like you just said, showing up. It's been said that facts tell, but stories sell. They have to come in and share their story. Then a kid locks in with you now. Right. They do that with adults. They're not watching a TV show or watching some actor until they hear about their story. Now all of a sudden they want to watch all the stuff they're doing. That's that facts tell, but stories sell. It has to be a story behind what's going on because they're getting inundated with so many other stories that are negative, and they lock into that. So if you give something positive and be that mentor as well. Now, I touched on a lot about the ones that don't look like them as well, but when you're talking about working in a district like where I work, I was encouraging some younger guys who've come on and pulled up their bootstraps and just took it and came on in and started working with our kids in our school district now. The young African-American males who graduated from the school district that are back there now working.
Talk about it.
And think about it. They taking a pay cut. They could do a lot of the stuff. Some of these guys done played ball overseas. They got other jobs they're doing, but they're coming back to do their part, right?
Right.
And as soon as they come in, they got to deal with the adults who are negative because the kids are gravitating to them. So I can't lose them. So I got to jump in with the grays and say, listen, I was just like that as well. You're going to have to be able to take some of that heat as well. Because just as I'm saying it, some people ain't excited when all of a sudden it starts working. Because their whole job is to be the negative, take away the energy person, right? So you have to realize that's a reality too as well. And I want to encourage any African-American males who are thinking about doing that, and even in any form of coming back and helping out that are listening to us right now, you need to just show up. You are a positive influence on their lives. They got negative influences. My dad asked me the other day, he said, a guy at the things grabbed the door for me. And, I wasn't judging him, but he looked like he was kind of rough, a young guy. And he said, go ahead, OG. And he opened the door for him. And, my dad ex-military, you ain't call him retired command sergeant major.
Right. OG.
OG. He talking about, what he said? Is he talking about old guy?
No, hey, tell your dad, take that. Hey, tell your dad, hey, when a young dude calling you an OG, that's respect.
And I had to break it down for him. But he doesn't work
Different
with kids like
perspectives.
that. Exactly.
Different
now,
world
guess
perspective.
What? He's mentoring now. He got a mentor group that he takes to Memphis Grizzly games and stuff like that down in Alabama. They travel up there to see it. But he's always done the mentoring side, but like you said, different perspective. And he said, what's OG? I said, that's a term endearment. I just is, Dad. Whether you like it or not, he was giving you respect. And he grabbed the door. And he was like, hadn't even thought about it like that. I thought he was saying old guy. I said, no, Dad, he was saying you were the old gangster. But guess what? He not saying a gangster like you've been out doing crime, because he doesn't have any old gangsters that he can see right now, because they dead or in jail.
There it is.
Then it came home for him. It's like, so I'm the person they looking at. I said, exactly. You're the person they looking at.
Somebody's always watching.
That's it.
Somebody's always
watching. And we
watching.
got to realize they just got to see it. They got to see it. And I said about what the males do, but with the females as well. These girls got to see young women doing business. They got to see that. If they see that, then they can be that too.
Right.
They got to see them where they're out of their environment and they're doing well. When they come back, oh, wow, I like that. I could be in that job. That's what you want.
Right.
So, hey, we got some adults that can follow that same stuff.
I can tell you in a school district, because when you talk about that high school time, that is a pivotal. Like, I think, and it's not to say that it's because this is not a thing of like, oh, everybody got to go to college and things like that. But it's pivotal in the sense of like, I feel to a certain degree, not all the time, but it plays a big part in regards to the spaces and the places that you have access to at the end of the day. And so I think it's really interesting to be able to know that, that it's not even about like what you're saying. It's not about like, oh, more resources, more this, more that. That comes, with certain relationships, but it's just showing up and being present. And it really to what we were talking about earlier too, before the podcast, something I kind of want to transition to, creating meaningful experiences. That is the essence of what we are talking about here, is that if we want to see a better St. Louis, if we want to see better outcomes for our youth, whether they live in St. Louis City, county, east side, west, wherever, because youth are struggling with things, everywhere.
Everywhere.
We have to create meaningful experience and then create environments that are going to be positive for those, for those outcomes. And so in regards to creating meaningful experience, I'd love for you to talk about the family trip that you recently did, because I think that, to as much as you want to share about it, because I do think that, with the podcast as well too, it's great that we talk about the work and the social changes that we want to see as well too, but also Speak Up St. Louis is about the personal lives that are happening here in our town as well too. So, you talk about the trips about what you recently did with the family.
I tell you, I gotta encourage right now. I want to make a shout out to all my dads that sit around, and you saw that model back, like my granddad. You sitting on the couch. You just
hey, that's the pose right there.
You got a newspaper. You watching the game after work. Hey, woman, bring me my dinner in here. All those models are gone. Gone. We got we got wives and young ladies who will go get it on you and come back and laugh at you on the couch and leave you because you're sitting on the couch every day. I want to shout out to my dads, because we are driving to soccer practice. We got the tide coming in at work in the morning with the baby milk on it in the morning. I've done it. What is it on your suit? No, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Come on, let's start the meeting. Shout out to those dads. It's just a different model. I call it the modern day dads. I call it modern day dads. It's no offense to how it was done before. It was a different era. It was a different economical situation. But, you got women that'll come home and say, look, did you pick up those kids from soccer? Did you get the groceries to do this? And did you cook the dinner? Because I'm here, and guess what? I make more money than you too. I mean, it may come out that way. I'm just trying to get you prepared, Quinton, that it goes on. All right? I'm just throwing
Ain't no
it out there.
shame, and there's
Ain't
no
no
shame.
shame in it.
And I
Because
think-
guess what? That's
and
a
I
business
think-
deal.
Exactly.
You better get one, bring something to the table more than the appetite. When y'all get to the table, somebody better bring food from all sides. Groceries.
But-
we're getting marriage counseling now.
But that's a different part of it, though. There's different dynamics now, and I think that's also powerful as well too. It's like, because it's like, I think this is my personal thought. I think if we're not learning from one generation to the next,
That's it.
We're really silly.
We're really silly. We're not paying attention at all. And that brings me to the reason why I did that vacation, because I learned from that generation. We had one of them big old Ford Econoline vans, 2 gas tanks. He could drive and flip the gas tank to the other, so you're not stopping very much. And my dad drove us on road trips, and we remembered that stuff. So guess what? My kids been bougie. They flying to Thailand. They going to, Puerto Vallarta, Mexico, and all that. No. Okay, I want y'all to see the world. I'm not in the military. I want you to get that experience. So now guess what? This time, we driving. We get it. We getting a truck, not a van, not an RV, so y'all can lay back and sleep the whole way. We're going to get a truck so you're engaged, and we're driving from St. Louis all the way to L.A. My oldest wanted to see. And I mean,
That's a lot of miles.
Woo, come on with it. 2,000.
Hold on. Can somebody?
I think I got
how
it
many
down.
hours was that?
It was days. Not, you don't break that down in hours anymore. That's days. Stopping off in different spots. We had a train from here to Kansas City. In Kansas City, we got the SUV and we drove there, stopped in Kansas, stopped in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We saw the fires going on in the desert and the firefighters that are out there doing it. Wow. They were at the hotel with their trucks and everything coming in from battling it. So it brings stuff they see on TV to the forefront. So those are life experiences. We go to Vegas. I don't let, they can't gamble, but they can get on there and see the Vegas Strip, and they had enough of that. They were like, whoa, this place is wild. Going out to the Hoover Dam, a lot of things they learned about electricity and stuff, brought it home for that as well. Then took them out to LA, and then they saw that whole lifestyle. They saw how the homeless population was just out of control. I'm sorry, down there. RVs lined up in a row, all no tires, laying down in flats, in rows for miles, and homeless people just living inside of them. It brought it home for my middle child because she's big about everybody needs a chance, Dad. Everybody needs to have, a house and all that stuff. So she saw, but all they thought was LA is Hollywood and its stars and red carpets.
Glitz and glam.
It's glitz and glam. And
Right.
that's it, right?
Right.
No, you get a chance to see all sides of it. Yeah, we did the Beverly Hills stuff. Yeah, we did all that other stuff. But it was like we want to get the full deal so they can have their world view on life. And I just got to say, my wife, we got 3 kids together. She's been instrumental in my life, and I thank her. If she ever hears this, she'll know that it was because she made me work so hard to be with her. That's why I was with her, Quinton, and that's a whole nother podcast right there. If it was easy, men don't want to do it. I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, and that's what I'm thankful for. I'm still chasing her to this day because we
So
are
sweet.
we got 3 kids and we just do what we got to do, and it's tough sometimes. It is, but at the same time, it's everybody needs to be encouraged that it's doable.
Right.
It is doable, but it's a business deal. So when you find the right one, man or woman, you just make sure you understand it's a business deal, a long-term one.
I appreciate you out here dropping gems and shout out to you and Miss Hite as well too. Because to be able to see Black families doing the thing, being able to have the experiences as well too. I know that for me at least, that's really exciting. So as we begin to wrap up, I have first, how can people connect with you and keep up with all the work that you're doing, whether it be with Jennings School District or even with the work that you're doing around motivational speaking?
Oh, 100%. It's Coach Hite, CoachHite. So Coach Hite on anything on social media, Coach_Hite on Instagram. I'm on YouTube, any of the things. The website is CoachHite.com, CoachHite. CoachHite.com. See me. I'm just thankful for the opportunity to be able to do that, and then be able to be, do what I love to do. People are yelling out now when I walk in, "Coach me, coach," and I blow the whistle, but then I yell out, "That's what I was born to do." It's this time where I realize, that other most important thing that goes on in your life is the day you realize why you were put on this earth. And the reason you were put here, and it's to do the things that I'm doing right now. So I thank God for the opportunity and the bandwidth to be able to withstand all that and keep my family together as well and be there for my kids and make games and things like that. But I'm not going to take it for granted by no means. I'm going to share it with as many people as I can. And if anything I said offended anybody, blame it on my head and not my heart, because my true thing to do is give people energy and give them things to help them have a great, successful life, because, time is so important.
For
and
sure.
I love them.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And then I have the final 2 questions for you.
Okay.
As well as, I guess it's 1 question, 2 questions. However you want to view it, that's fine with me. So it's a 2-part question. The first one is, what do you love most about St. Louis? And the second part is, what do you most want to see change?
Wow. What I want to see change is I want to see the mentality that certain people can't be good and certain people can't do this and certain people are doing things and I can't be a part of that. I want to see that mentality change to where we realize that we're all here and we're representing St. Louis. Back to that, it takes a whole village. Mm-hmm. It really does. People, I don't want to get involved. I don't want to say nothing. No, if you see something, say something. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with that? They don't want to be responsive, then that's just what it is. But some of these kids and some of these adults are just looking for somebody to care and love about what they got going on. So I want to see that change in St. Louis. I want to see this all mine over here and me mentality more like us, because people watch us. We're in the middle of the country. I mean, it's access to everything to get to as well. I mean, I got love for St. Louis, but we got to have the love in St. Louis as well. Mm-hmm. That's the things we need to do. I'd like to see that change. The other part is that you said the one.
What do you love the most? What do you love the most about St. Louis?
I love the resiliency. I guess that's part of the other part as well. I love the resiliency where people can go through different things and then they can become something bigger and then they come back and then still show love for the area. They don't go out and just say, well, I live in this area now, out in this part of the country, or this, and I don't like St. Louis. You know what I mean?
Right.
You don't see that a lot. You see the ones that come back and say, I got love for St. Louis, emos, blah, 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 blah. They start naming off all the different things, the things that they loved about the area. I like that. I'm still that way too as well. I don't let people talk bad about my city. The Rams. That's probably the only thing I get negative about.
We don't own them too much.
We still got anymore. PTSD from that. Right.
We got a stadium but no team.
Stadium, no team.
But hold on, shout out to the Battlehawks out there holding it down.
Come on, Battlehawks. I mean, I get it. But that's what I love about St. Louisans. I mean, they are proud about their areas and they're from. I guess that's where this whole what high school you went to thing originated from. You know what I mean? I'll go with that. That's the positive spin on it. But that's what I love about the city, that everybody is proud of what we got here and what we do, and that's going to help make things better. If you're proud of what you do, you're going to keep working at it.
For sure.
Don't quit.
Well, thank you so much for all the love and the resilience that you share with St. Louis. St. Louis is a better place because we got folks like you being able to do the work and especially being able to have an impact in the lives of our youth. So once again, Dr. Leon Hite III, I appreciate you so much for coming on the podcast with me today.
Hey, Coach Hite is thankful to you. Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank y'all. Let's grow.